So, you're thinking about launching a business in the Palmetto State? Let me tell you, you have picked a fantastic spot. But I know turning that amazing idea into a real, legal, and protected business can feel, well, a little overwhelming. Don't worry, we're going to break it all down. Think of this as your personal roadmap, taking you through those crucial first steps, from legal stuff to getting the right insurance. Let's get you set up for success. First things first, let's just talk about the opportunity here. South Carolina is so much more than its beautiful coastline and rich history. It is an absolute powerhouse for business. We're talking about pro-business policies, a skilled workforce. I mean, there's a reason it's consistently ranked as one of the best places in the entire country to start and grow a company. You are building on some seriously solid ground.
And hey, if you're starting a small business, you are in very good company. Get this, a staggering 99.4% of all businesses in South Carolina are small businesses. That's not just a statistic, that's a community. It means there's this massive, supportive ecosystem built just for entrepreneurs like you.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We've just touched on why South Carolina is such a great place to be. Next, we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty, your legal blueprint, which is all about picking the right structure for your company. Then, we'll build out our essential insurance shield. And finally, we'll get specific and talk about how to tailor that protection for your unique industry.
All right, let's get into it. Your first huge decision is choosing a legal structure. And really, you should think of this as your company's DNA. It determines everything, how you're taxed, your personal liability, even how you might raise money down the road. Getting this right from the very beginning is absolutely critical.
Let's break down the three most common options. You've got the sole proprietorship, which is super simple to set up, and this is a big but, it offers zero liability protection. That means your personal assets, your house, your car, they're on the line. On the other end, you have the corporation, which offers the strongest protection but comes with a ton of complex rules. And right there in the sweet spot for most people, the LLC. It gives you that crucial liability protection, but with way more flexibility.
Now, for a lot of entrepreneurs in South Carolina, the real choice boils down to this: LLC or S-Corp. An LLC is loved for its flexibility and simple management. But here's the thing you have to understand. An S-Corp isn't a totally different business structure. It's actually a tax election. Your LLC can choose to be taxed like an S-Corp, so why would you do that? Well, the big advantage is that it can potentially save you a good chunk of money on self-employment taxes. The trade-off is you have to follow stricter rules, like having a cap of 100 US-based shareholders. Okay, so you've picked your structure, you've registered your business. Now what? Now we have to protect it, and that brings us to insurance. Please don't think of this as just another business expense. This is your financial safety net. It's what allows your business to survive when the unexpected happens. Because let's be real, things happen. A customer can slip and fall in your shop. A product you sell can malfunction. A data breach could expose sensitive customer information. Any one of those things, without protection, could be completely devastating for a new business that's running on tight margins. And to put a number on that risk, the average claim for a customer getting injured or their property getting damaged is $30,000. For most small businesses, that is a catastrophic, completely unbudgeted expense. Insurance is what turns that terrifying, unpredictable risk into a predictable, manageable cost. The foundation, the absolute bedrock of your protection, is general liability insurance. This covers the everyday risks of just being in business, a customer tripping over a power cord or an employee accidentally breaking something at a client's house. It is the must-have coverage for pretty much every single business. And a common mistake here is just to go for the cheapest premium. You've got to make sure your coverage limit is actually high enough to cover a real disaster, not just to check a box. Now, if you provide a professional service, if you're a consultant, a designer, an accountant, you need professional liability, which is also called E&O. This is what protects you if a client says your advice was bad or your work was negligent and it cost them money. To put it simply, this insurance covers your brain, not just your physical space. And if you sell a physical product, and it doesn't matter if you make it yourself, resell it, or even drop ship it, you are legally on the hook for its safety. Product liability insurance is absolutely crucial here. It covers you if that product has some kind of defect that hurts someone or damages their property. This is why even online-only e-commerce stores 100% need this coverage. But look, a basic shield isn't always going to be enough.
different industries face different dragons, right? So the really crucial thing to remember is that your insurance needs to be tailored to your specific risks. Think of it like a custom-fitted suit of armor. Let's kick things off with one of the highest risk sectors out there, construction and the skill trades. I mean, job sites are dynamic, they're fast-moving, and they can be dangerous. Your insurance has to reflect that reality.
For any construction business in South Carolina, this is your baseline. You've got general liability for accidents on site. You've got workers' compensation, which, by the way, is legally required if you have 4 or more employees, to cover injuries to your team. And of course, commercial auto for all your work trucks and vans. Hey, here's a quick tip. Ask your agent about bundling these policies together. You can often get some pretty significant savings.
Okay, now let's pivot to the world of retail and e-commerce. The risks here are less about, falling off a scaffold and way more about things like a defective product, stolen customer data, or losing all your inventory. So for sellers, your suit of armor is going to include product and general liability. But you also absolutely need cyber liability. That protects you from the massive costs of a data breach. And don't think for a second this is just for big tech companies. If you store any customer data, even just emails for a newsletter, you're a target. And finally, commercial property insurance to cover your inventory against things like fire or theft. And last but not least, let's talk about restaurants and hospitality. Here you're dealing with the public, with food, and often with alcohol. That creates a very specific, let's call it a cocktail of liability challenges. Your absolute must-haves here are general liability for things like slip and falls, and if you serve alcohol, liquor liability is completely non-negotiable. Workers' comp protects your staff in what can be a really fast-paced environment. And here's one that gets overlooked all the time: business interruption insurance. This is what replaces your lost income if a fire or some other disaster forces you to close down for a while. Honestly, this can be the single policy that saves your entire business. So let's do a quick recap of the launch sequence. Step 1, choose your blueprint. Select the right legal entity for your goals, whether that's an LLC, an S-Corp, or something else. Step 2, make it official. Get registered with the South Carolina Secretary of State. Step 3, assess your risks. Be really honest about your unique liabilities. And finally, Step 4, secure your shield with the right tailored insurance coverage. You see, getting these foundational pieces right, it isn't just about avoiding problems. It's about giving yourself the confidence and the freedom to focus on what really matters, building your dream. You've laid the groundwork, you've built the protection. So now, the only question left is, what will you create?